First of all, I want to thank you for watching this video. It'll how real estate sales and flip cheap houses works. I know that you have made the effort by going to some different franchise sites and looking into starting your own business. So first of all, I got to take my hat off because you're actually making an effort. It's sort of like watching a baseball game and yelling at somebody who strikes out at the plate. I mean, hey, if you're not at the plate swinging, you're never going to hit anything either. So, I mean, at least you're at the plate swinging. So good for you guys. Number one, I want to talk to you about some of the downfalls when people are looking into starting a business. And what I mean by that is a lot of times you might get talked into buying a business because supposedly, you've heard that it is the easiest to run and it's turnkey and you can make a truckload of money. The truth is that running your own business is really very, very tough, but it's very, very rewarding. Number one, if you're your own boss, you don't have to answer to anybody. You're creating a business that you can pass on to your kids. And you have an opportunity, I should say, to create a business that can make you a significant amount of money, but you have to be realistic. Now, one of the things that I always caution people about is be realistic. Myself, if I was not in real estate investing and I was looking to start a business, I know I want to go with one of the best brands out there. And what I mean by that is, I look at companies that are already out there working. And, you might think of a McDonald's, you need $2.5–3 million to start that. Subway, I think, if you have $200,000 is a safe bet. But you are buying yourself a second job. You're going to have to work 40 to 60 hours a week. You're going to make probably about $80,000 to $100,000 a year as the owner, but it is something it's a proven concept and it works. If you don't have at least $200,000 to start a Subway, then I would suggest don't even think about starting a business, except ours. Now, with our business, you don't need a lot of money to get started, but we make money when you do. So believe me, it's almost like paying us $200,000. Now let's look at this. The biggest thing you don't want to do is you don't want to buy yourself a second job. You don't want to buy something like a retail outlet that you've got to show up at 10 a.m. in the morning and you're standing there all day long until 9 p.m. at night because you're waiting for your customers to come in. And then you've got the overhead of what the monthly lease is. You've got employee costs. You got equipment. You got supplies. I mean, that's just something that why take that on? You're going to spend more time running that business than you ever thought working for somebody else. And another thing too is you don't want to risk losing everything that you've worked so hard for. The reason you want to start a business is, yes, of course, you want to be your own boss and you want to make more money than what you're making now. But if you make a mistake, you not only could lose the money that you invested in that business, you could lose your house, you could lose your retirement funds. I mean, it's a scary situation because with a lot of these businesses, you do have to lease office space or retail space. You do have to buy equipment. You do have to buy supplies. If you go out of business, you're still paying those bills. That doesn't end. Now, let's take a look at our particular business. Real estate investing, what's great with that is you don't have to have an office. You don't have to have a retail spot. You don't have to have employees. You don't have to, you have really virtually hardly any overhead whatsoever. So it's something that you can do on the side, get started on the side. Even though you have a current job that you're working 40, 60 hours a week at, you can get this started on the side. The only problem, though, is since you do have limited time because of work and family commitments, you want to make sure that your time is well spent with the real estate investing. You don't want to be out there wandering around for the next 4 or 5 years trying to figure this out. Your whole thing is you're looking to start a business now that makes money so you can win back your freedom of time to spend more time with the kids now at their age. I mean, if your kids are 5, 6, 7 years old, you don't want to be wandering around trying to learn how to invest in real estate for the next 15 years to where now all of a sudden they're 20 years old and you missed all the years that they're growing up. If you're older and you want to travel with your wife or with your husband, you don't want to grow even older and miss those special years. What I'm trying to say is you don't want to waste time. You want to get up and running very quickly. Now, what I want to do before I get into explaining how our business works, I want to first go over some of the problems that you're going to run into with real estate investing. The number one problem is finding a constant flow of great deals. A lot of times you hear people say, yeah, I've invested in real estate before. Oh, great. How many deals did you do last year? Did you do 5 or 10 deals? Oh, I did 1 deal. Oh, I did 2 deals. Well, if it made you money, why aren't you doing 20 or 50 deals? Well, that's because it's the hardest thing is finding the great deals. Now, a lot of people look for bank-owned properties, properties that were foreclosed on and now the bank has them back. Those, everybody and their brother has access to those. So it's very, very competitive. And believe me, the banks aren't going to bend over backwards by giving you a great deal. So in order to find a lot of those great deals, that's just not the route to go. Another route is maybe auctions. You've seen it on all the real estate reality TV shows, Flipping Vegas, Flipping Boston, to where, these individuals will go to an auction. There'll be a group of people there bidding on one property. Well, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to overbid, and now you're going to get stuck with a property. So that isn't the route to do. Another one is real estate agent. People think they can easily pick up the phone, call a real estate agent, and they can provide you with all the great deals to invest in. If that's true, you got to remember everybody would be doing it. Okay, real estate agents, you got to understand that isn't their forte. Their forte is finding people that have houses to sell at retail value, not by finding great deals out there you can invest in. And believe me, if the real estate agent is involved, then you've got another layer, another hand in the pot to where that's going to take from your profit. Now, I know a lot of you have seen, bandit signs. They're signs, that you'll see on a corner or on a telephone pole. It'll say, I buy houses for cash. Those are called bandit signs. You can put 1,000 of those up around town, and people take them down as fast as they put them up, so you keep on putting them out there. The problem is the people that call you on those, they're tire kickers, All they want to do is try to sell you their property at retail or above retail. So you're never going to find a good deal on that. Now, the difference about our company is why don't you go to flipcheaphouses.com. Now, this is our lead generation system. We've been in business for quite some time. We're a company that has put a lot of money into technology. And what we have found over the years is that the best deal is somebody that has a vacant home, a non-producing asset, and they don't owe any money on it. Okay, so how does a vacant home come about? Well, there's 3 different ways. Let's say that, grandma passes away and leaves little Johnny, this house in her will, and little Johnny lives in a different state. He doesn't know what to do with this property. It's a hassle. He wants to sell and have a brand new BMW. So that's one way you can find a motivated seller that has a vacant home with high equity. Second way, divorce. People get divorced all day long. The house is in the middle. They want to get rid of it and each go their separate ways. The third and the most common way is, let's say somebody moves from one side of town to the other, or they move out of state and they get the wise idea that they want to rent that house out. They want to become a landlord. Then they end up finding out that there's actually an art to being a landlord. Okay, not everybody's cut out for it. To find a good renter that doesn't tear up the place and pays their bills on time is pretty hard, especially if you're new to this, meaning that, lo and behold, that property will end up sitting vacant because that homeowner is going to say, forget it, I'm done with it. And then, of course, It's now a second home they own that they're paying a mortgage on. It's a non-producing asset. They've got to mow the grass every week. They got to make sure that the snow is removed. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you get fined by the city. And in some cities, if your house is vacant too long, they're going to fine you anyway. So this is a hassle to them. Now, the ideal situation is finding somebody who owns a vacant home and doesn't owe any money on it. Now, that's very hard. It's easy to find vacant homes, but to find a vacant home where a person doesn't owe any money on it, that is the ideal situation. But it is like finding a diamond in the rough, okay? Now, if they don't owe any money on it, you can negotiate a great deal. If they still have a huge mortgage on it, now you got a situation where there's probably not going to be enough margin in there to invest in the property, turn around and sell it and make a profit. So the ideal lead is a vacant home with high equity, okay? When I first started investing 8-10 years ago, I used to drive around town mindlessly for hours finding vacant homes. I then would write the address down. I would then go down to the county courthouse and I would thumb through a bunch of paperwork and find out who owned this house, and I'd get their address. But before I ever thought about sending them a letter, I had to make sure, that they didn't owe any money on the house. And that's tough to do. Like I said, it's like finding a diamond in the rough. But once I found a person who owned a vacant home and it was a high equity, I sent them out a letter. Hey, this is Brian. I'm a local investor. I'm interested in your property at so-and-so address. If you want to sell it, give me a call. Well, the problem is that it literally would take me 20 hours a week driving around, going down to the county courthouse to find maybe 5 vacant homes with high equity. Well, I would send the letters out to 5 of them, and I did that every week. It literally would take me 4 or 5 months of doing that before I flipped my first property. It was very, very labor-intensive, time-consuming. Well, what our company, Real Estate Sales, has done is we've actually put together the Flip Cheap Houses lead generation system, where we are licensed to go into every county in the United States. There's 3,000 counties, and electronically pull all the motivated sellers who are the people that own a vacant home with high equity. It would be the same as if you had 1,000 people driving around your town, finding vacant homes and going down to the county courthouse and finding it. What I mean by that is, instead of me spending 20 hours a week doing that and maybe getting 5 motivated sellers to send a letter to, now in less than 60 seconds, I can have hundreds. So it changed from me sending 5 letters out a week to these people to now I send out 200 letters a week. I went from flipping 1 property every 4 or 5 months to flipping 4 to 5 properties every month. Changed my life significantly, and it's changed all our clients' lives, because now you're working the business instead of the business working you. Okay? Now, the second problem that you have when you're investing in real estate is if you use your own cash or credit, you're hamstringing yourself. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you're using your own cash or credit to buy a dilapidated property, then you turn around and put money into it to fix it up, and now you hope and pray that you sell it for a profit, you're basically tying up your cash and credit lines for whatever period of time you have that property. Now, if you don't sell that property right away, and you've had it for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you're paying a mortgage on that baby, unless you paid pure cash for it. Now, if you paid pure cash for it, you're stuck. You can't look at doing another deal until you get your cash out of that property. So you can't make a good living investing in real estate because you are tying up your cash and credit lines. The worst thing you ever want to get stuck with is the house. Let's say that now all of a sudden, you can't sell it because you bought it wrong. You bought it too high. By the time you put money into it and fixed it up and tried to sell it, now you got to try to sell it above retail value. You're not able to do that. So now you've got to turn around and try to rent that out. And believe me, to find a good renter who doesn't tear it up and pays their bills on time, you're probably going to go through a lot of renters to try to figure that out. If you want to, stick with that, you're going to have a lot of sleepless nights because now you're stuck with another mortgage. And it limits your income, like I said, because until you get your money out of that, you can't look at doing another deal. Well, some people say, well, hey, you don't have to use your own cash or credit. You can use hard money or private lenders. Let me tell you what, they're going to charge you way above what a bank is going to charge you, and it's going to be the same situation as if you did borrow the money from the bank. So really, none of those options are what you want to do. With us, because you're using our lead generation system, what's beautiful is you have so many motivated sellers, you don't ever have to use your own cash or credit. What do I mean by that? Well, believe me, these people, let's look at the psychology of a person who owns a vacant home with high equity. If a property sits vacant, it deteriorates faster than if a family lives in it, okay? So you've got a vacant home that needs repairs, all right? Well, you might be saying, well, why doesn't that person use all the equity they have in the property and just get an equity line from the bank and fix the property up themselves and sell it? Well, because banks won't loan on second properties for repairs. So if that motivated seller doesn't have the cash to fix the property up, that property sits there vacant, deteriorating every day. You might ask, well, why doesn't he just hire a real estate agent and have the real estate agent sell it? Reason being is a real estate agent won't touch it. The reason they won't touch it is because, remember, who is the real estate agent's inner circle of people they sell houses to? They sell houses to people that are looking for a house that's move-in ready. They don't have an inner group of people that want to buy houses to fix up. Their people are looking for a house to buy to move in. So you can't hire a real estate agent, plus they won't take it anyway, all right? So here this motivated seller sits with a vacant home, deteriorating. They're paying taxes on every year. Like I said, they got to make sure they mow the grass, remove the snow, all that hassle, okay? And all of a sudden they get a letter from you. And the letter says, hey, my name is, Brian. I'm a local real estate investor. You don't have to pay me a dime up front. You don't have to put any money into your property to fix it up. Give me 60 to 90 days and I can probably put money right in your pocket. Well, let me ask you, if you were that motivated seller, would you pick up the phone and call? Of course you would. Now, what's really nice is we are going to teach you how to write an option to purchase contract on these homes. And believe me, none of our clients ever have a problem getting them signed because remember, this motivated seller really has nowhere else to go. And what's great with this option to purchase contract is it gives you the right to turn around and sell that property to anyone you want. You do not need a real estate license. See, a person can sell their own home to whomever they want without a license. And you can sell as many as your own homes to whoever you want without a license. As long as you have an option contract in place, you will be absolutely fine. See, the option contract basically states that you will have 60 to 90 days that you can turn around and sell this property to whomever you want. And the motivated seller cannot try to sell it out from underneath you during that 60 to 90 day period. It protects you. But see, money is going to exchange hands because as a deposit, earnest deposit, you're going to give them $5 to $10. When money changes hand with an option to purchase contract, it is in all for intensive purposes, it looks as though, and it is as though, you control and own that property for that period of time. And you can make a decision if you want to buy the property for yourself or if you want to sell it to whomever you want. All right? Completely legal. It's done thousands of times every day throughout the United States in every state. Okay? Believe me, we've checked this out. We've been doing this for many, many years. So what's great is once you have this option to purchase contract in place, we can turn around and now sell it to whomever we want. Now, let me just explain that a little bit further. We also, with our proprietary software, we're also, like I said, we already are going into 3,000 counties throughout the United States, and we're able to pull all the motivated sellers, people that have vacant homes with high equity. We are also able to pull all the cash investors that are currently buying properties in that area as well. So let's say that you wrote an option to purchase contract on a property for $50,000, okay? And you turn around now and you can serve it up on a silver platter to a cash buyer that's already buying properties in that city. And let's say you sell that property for $70,000 to that cash buyer. Well, you're going to make the in-between between 50 and 70. As soon as you sell it to the cash buyer for $70,000, it'll go to the title company we use, and in less than 3-4 weeks, you're going to get that $20,000 wired into your account. Now, going back to the cash buyer is the one that's going to be fixing and flipping, or fixing and holding on to being a landlord. You have nothing to do with that. Now, when I explain that to people, the light bulb that goes off in their mind is incredible, because the first thing they say to me is they say, so you mean if I don't have to use my own cash or credit, I can work as many deals as possible. I can work multiple deals simultaneously. That's exactly right. If you go to our website, flipcheaphouses.com, and scroll to the bottom, you'll see in the month of December, and the reason we listed the month of December is the month of December is typically the worst month to invest in real estate. In that month, one of our beginners, just like you, sold 24 properties in 1 month, and that was the month of December. The reason being is he was able to work multiple deals simultaneously without using his own cash or credit. Many of our clients write multiple deals every month. There are some that are doing this full time, and they are writing an incredible amount of deals. So that's the great thing with our lead generating system. Now, the third biggest problem is wasting time and life goes by. There's so many people that I talk to, and I ask them, okay, is this going to be new to you, or have you invested in real estate in the past? Oh, no, I've invested in real estate. I'm wondering, well, why are you calling me? Why aren't you doing this full time, making a ton of money? Well, the reason being is what a lot of people do is they watch these reality shows like Flipping Vegas, Flipping Boston, and they go, man, that looks cool. I think I'd really like to get into that. So what ends up happening is they hear on the radio or on TV, a seminar, a real estate investing seminar is coming to town. Yeah, we're going to teach you how to invest in real estate and quit your job and blah, 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 and you're going to make a ton of money. Well, you end up going to these free real estate investing seminars. And during the seminar, they try to sell you on a weekend boot camp. For $2,000 to $3,000, we're going to teach you how this all works. Well, you pay the $2,000 to $3,000, you go to the weekend boot camp, and now they tell you, well, what you really need, so we can really teach you how this works, is you really should work with one of our real estate investing coaches, and that costs $25,000, $35,000, or $50,000. So what ends up happening is a lot of people sign up for these programs, and they get a lot of great information, but they really don't do any deals. It's sort of like they go to college, spending, like my daughter, spent over $100,000 going to college, and she wasn't guaranteed a job. And matter of fact, the job she took was not in the major that she studied for and spent all the money for. Okay? That's exactly what these are like. It's like you're going to college, but you're not deals. It's not like real life. Now, with us, you hit the ground running immediately. Okay? And what I mean by that is there's actually 10 steps to success on how this works. As soon as you become one of our members, the very first day or within 24 hours, you're going to receive a welcome call from the real estate investor you're going to be working with one-on-one for 12 months. Of course, they're going to introduce themselves, they're going to give you all their contact info, and they're going to tell you they're available to you 7 days a week. Phone, text, email, they are available to you. And the reason that real estate investor is available to you is they make money on all the deals they do with you. They make a percentage of the profit. So believe me, they're very motivated to help you get up and running, doing deals, and doing as many deals as possible. Now, usually the very next day, you're going to meet with your investor again, and you both are going to discuss what areas that you want to concentrate on marketing first. Usually what happens is that investor is going to mark out a 60-mile radius from your very front door. And they're going to provide all the numbers of motivated sellers that own vacant homes with high equity in the cities that surround you and your city. You and the investor then will decide, okay, what city or cities do you want to start marketing to first, okay? Then usually the very next day, you and your investor will get together and the investor will download on your computer software that allows you to push a few buttons, and in less than 30 minutes, you're going to print 100 to 200 personalized letters to send to these motivated sellers. What's great is the letter looked like you took time typing each one. Very personalized, professional looking. It's going to give it that look to where the people that read that letter aren't going to think you're just sending out a mass mailing, okay? The next step is after you get the letters and put the letters in the mail, usually about 5 days later, you're going to start to get a trickle of phone calls in. That's how fast it happens, I'm telling you. In between that period of time, you and your investor are going to train and role play on putting together a low and high bid sheet and how to write an option to purchase contract for any property. What's great is we've been doing this so long, we have this automated low high bid formula to where any property sight unseen, you can figure out what's the low bid and what's the high bid you should be giving for that property. It figures everything in, repairs, the profit for the cash buyer, your profit, it figures everything in. So in less than 5 minutes, sight unseen, any property, you can put together a low and high bid. Your investor will also be teaching you how to write the option contract. The option contract is very simple. It's a one-page option contract. What's beautiful about it is that if you do not sell that property within 60 to 90 days, everybody walks away as friends. There's no liability to you whatsoever. That is what's so awesome. There's only an upside to this. There's never a negative downside. Now, after you guys train on that, like I said, you'll start to receive some of these phone calls. So when you start to receive some of these phone calls, you will be working with the investor as far as deciding which ones you want to go forward with and write an option to purchase contract on. Once you decide which ones, you're going to actually meet that motivated seller at the property. You're going to take some pictures of the inside and out, and you're going to have them sign the option to purchase contract. Now, what's awesome about this is that you're going to be able to use those pictures in your marketing to entice the cash buyers to buy these properties from you. So after you write the option to contract, then we're going to go into our proprietary software and we're going to pull all the cash buyers out that are currently buying houses just like that in that same neighborhood. You then will, with the help of your investor, start learning. You're going to start sending out the letters to the cash buyers. And then while we're waiting for the cash buyers to respond to the letters you send out, you and your investor will work on how to negotiate with the cash buyer and how to write a cash buyer contract. Cash buyer contract's very simple, and negotiating with the cash buyers, believe me, that is what your investor is going to be working with you on. A very simple way to where how anybody can negotiate with a cash buyer. Now, once you start to receive the phone calls from the letters that you sent out to the cash buyers, your investor will be working with you one-on-one as far as putting together the deals and finalizing the deals with the cash buyers. Now, once you have a cash buyer that purchases the property from you, it's going to go to the title company that we use, and then you're going to get your portion of the net profit, like I said, usually within a 3 to 4 week period. So that's how fast this gets up and running. I mean, it's immediate. And what's great is usually if you can give the investor you're working with 5 hours a week, usually by the 30 to 45th day, you're flipping your first property, and by the 90th day, they can get you where you're averaging flipping a property a month. Now, if you can give more than 5 hours a week, then the numbers will change more favorably. And also remember, when I'm talking about flipping a property, I'm talking about making a minimum of $5,000 to $25,000 per property, of course, depending on the property. Now, if what I said to you makes sense, if you're looking for something that you can get started on the side, you don't have to, quit your job. You don't have to say, family, I'll see you in a year because I'm going to concentrate on this 100%. If you want to get this started on the side with the goal that in the near future, once it starts to make money, you can decide if you want to do this full-time and this will be your family business, or if you want to continue to do it on the side. It's totally up to you. But like I said, the investor you work with makes money when you do. So they are very motivated to, number one, take baby steps. Make sure you understand and you're comfortable with everything. And that investor is right there doing everything with you. You don't have to do anything on your own. We have great training materials and we got great investors that work with our clients. Now, once you get up and running, if you want to start giving more time to this, to where, this can be one heck of a business to where you're making a significant amount of money, all you got to do is let your investor know. And believe me, they can go 0 to 60 overnight. All it is increasing what you're currently doing. We have an assembly line here that's a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, make money. All we have to do is increase the number of letters that you're sending out, which will increase the number of deals you write, which will increase the more money that you make. Now, what I'd like to do for any of you that have an interest in this, I'd like to schedule time, maybe 5-10 minutes where I can get an understanding of what you want to do. I'll take a look at your area and where you want to concentrate in as far as real estate investing. And then what I'm going to do is refer you to who in the beginner division you need to speak to that can explain everything thoroughly to you, get you information on our company. And that's another thing too, is the most important thing that this person can get you is information on our company. If you're going to work with us for 12 months, you got to trust us and you got to feel comfortable. So that person will be able to get you information so you can do your due diligence on us and see we're a very good company and we've been around long enough that we know what we're doing. But anyway, like I said, I'd like to schedule a time where we have maybe 5-10 minutes where I can ask you a few questions, get an idea what you want to do, where you want to concentrate, and then I can refer you to the proper person that will explain everything thoroughly, get you documentation to take a look at. We put everything in writing, so there's no, well, I thought you said this, or I thought, it was this. We put everything in writing that everybody signs off on, and they can also get you information on the company. That way you can really wrap your mind around this opportunity and see if this is something you want to take advantage of. And of course, the person you speak with from our company is going to get a good feel for you, and if you're somebody that they believe would be a good fit with our company as well. But anyway, you can reach me at 1-800-644-1630. My name is Brian. Again, that's 1-800-644-1630. Look forward to talking to you, and thank you for giving me your time today. Bye-bye.